Alright, new episodes dropped for Bakugan Armored Alliance, and we gotta talk about it big time. So, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Kimbo here, and it's time for an epic discussion video. Obviously, being on Bakugan Armored Alliance, the show. So, first things first, I'll give you 5 seconds if you haven't seen up to this point to click away out of respect, so I'm not spoiling anything for you. So, here we go. Do 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 do. Boom. Shakalaka Bakugan Brawl. Alright. So, anyways, getting into it, man. The latest episodes have dropped, that being episodes 47 and 48. So, also being like, what, 90? Like being, 90s with episodes. So, we're basically getting the build up to the finale. We got 2 left. I think 50 is the very last one. So, yeah, 2 more after this. They're probably going to drop them sometime in the next couple weeks or such, maybe even sooner. But yeah, and also happy holidays to everybody. Hope you're enjoying it and such with your families and staying safe, of course. But let's get into it, man. Episodes 47 and 48. So we've got this crazy build up, that being Havoc having Sabra or Sabris, he's named it, and obviously being a little bit different because the artwork on the actual card looks more like Nilius. Maybe it was like a little error with that or something, because Sabra or Sabris is a 5-headed fusion Bakugan, so, maybe a thing with that. But he has it. He has Sabris in the show, and it's an absolute beast, an absolute monster with the ability of 5 factions. It's like an ultimate fusion Bakugan that plays no games, man. So, getting the build up to this, obviously seeing Gorillion and Gorillion Infinity, and then he gifted the Infinity armor to Dan and Drago, which they can use. So, we got basically our build up, at least one part of it. So the other part we get with these episodes, and it goes like this. So, a couple more episodes, it might feel like a little bit of filler episodes. Some people might not be the biggest fan of filler episodes. I personally don't mind it, as long as it like builds to the story a little bit in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? And they definitely do. So with this, we get an eclipse, and when this eclipse happens, it's actually like a solar eclipse, in the middle of the day. When it happens, Dan gets teleported. So you see like this golden kind of aura, and then gets teleported. So this hinting at the maze. So they're bringing in the maze and such, the Arliss Bakugan. So Dan gets taken to kind of the reverse world. So we had like, Winton, where he's being like more like, uptight and obnoxious and such, and he has Pyrus, and they switch their factions. Dan's basically Aquas. We've seen this before, like, with the past season. They go back to this kind of realm. And Dan from the other world, like the Dan we know, switches places with the alternate world Dan, who has Aquas, and he's like kind of a more timid brawler who doesn't really battle that much or anything. We've seen it before. They're basically just having like a dialogue, and then Winton just sitting there bullying Dan a little bit, and then challenges him to a battle. Dan throws out Drago being Pyrus. Winton's kind of shook at it like, what? You have a Pyrus? Why is it that color? And then obviously it shows like they're in the other world. Dan and Drago figure it out. They're in the other world like it happened before, which means the Dan from their world goes over to where the actual awesome brawlers are. And then there's like these kids that show up and challenge them to a battle, and they want to battle Dan, and then Dan shows up, but it's the blue-haired Dan, and then they're wondering like what's up with them. They're like, why is his Bakugan different? Shun kind of picks up on it, but he doesn't say it right away, but then realized it over time. So the Dan we know is in the other world, and he's facing off against Winton, and then he beats Pyrus Trox, like Winton's Pyrus Trox, and then he's like, whoa, that was awesome, and then he says that he's leaving. So the actual Dan goes back, and he goes through like the shadow, like the actual eclipse when it's the shadow. Dan goes through that, and then he makes it back to the actual world where now the blue Dan, and the awesome brawlers are. And then Shun fully says it after this, like, oh, this is the Dan from the other world in the maze. And I figured that out when Dan comes back. But then also, Dan actually wins. Like, the sad Dan, like, the blue Aquas Dan wins the battle. And then he thinks about it and he doesn't want to go back to the other world, which I mean, it kind of makes sense because Winston was bullying him big time. And then they all said like he was scared and didn't battle or anything. And he probably didn't want to deal with that anymore. Uh, you know, but then he's like, you could stay in my world and I'll battle you for it. And then the two Dans face off, and then obviously Pyrus Dan, our Dan, wins it. But then he tells him, like, you're me. You're strong. You're good. All you gotta do is have confidence in yourself, pretty much. And then he keeps that in mind, and he goes back. But because Dan, our Dan, the other awesome brawlers in the other world, they see him and they're like, you don't remember that battle that just happened right now? And then they see him as being the leader. So the Aquas Dan in that world being the leader. So that's kind of cool. Kind of a happy ending for, the negative world characters, the awesome brawlers. So that was honestly a really cool side episode. I personally liked it big time. And then after this, we get an episode with Ajit and Magnus, man. So Ajit is just walking around and he actually runs into Magnus. Well, he sees Magnus looking over and then he looks over. He's like, what? And then they see Havoc. So Magnus has his eye on Havoc. He's trying to get payback, against Havoc and such, of course. And Havoc's just walking around having the time of his life. This is the thing I love about Havoc as a character. He's an evil character to given. He's the antagonist, but he's also just that carefree, playful antagonist. Because he's just like, I want to put on a show, but he also likes enjoying having some fun, except it's in his own way. Yeah, dude. Ajit and Magnus start following Havoc around wherever he's going. He literally falls on asleep on top of a building and stuff, and it's actually really funny because Havoc just doesn't care. He's just going around having the time of his life, and then he has Sabrus, of course. But then he rolls out Sabrus out of nowhere, and then Ajit and Magnus both see it. Magnus puts out Nelius Enoch, and then Ajit having Auxiliator and Pharaoh with him. And they battle him, and it's a pretty intense battle, but Sabrus is not playing any games, and Magnus is seeing that because this is Magnus's time, his first time actually seeing Sabrus or Sabra, meeting it, And they get Sabrus down low on health, but here's the kicker. Havoc has his Baku gear, so this is where we see it. He activates Baku gear because he's known about that too. And Sabrus or Sabra having the Baku gear like we've seen on the card. This is where it comes in, and this is where they show it. I forgot the name of it, but it's like Attribute Cannon or something like that, And it's powerful. It's very powerful, and then he uses it to beat them, basically. Well, almost. Well, he beat Pharaoh and Auxiliator, and he was about to go after Nelius Enoch, but then he's like, oh, there's cartoons on, and he stops battling them to go watch cartoons because it's a show he liked. That's hilarious, dude. He literally could have just bodied him. He's like, I'm gonna just show off my power right now. But, I gotta go watch my cartoons, and then just goes on his way. But then obviously Ajit and Magnus both sitting there like, he's strong. He's gotten really, really strong. But it's showing just how strong Havoc is, like just how strong Sabrus is, and I just love that it is actually 5 heads and such. I know it's been a few episodes, but still, there's so much speculation about it, but it does have like the 5 heads with all the 5 factions, and it's so cool to see that. But yeah, man. After that, Ajit goes back, and at the same time, during all this happening with this episode, the Awesome Brawlers are actually planning a party, and then you hear them humming. So it's a given, like, they don't say it right away, but if you pick up on it as you watch it, you think they're celebrating somebody's birthday. Is it Ajit's birthday? You wonder that. I know it's what I was wondering the whole time. And then, sure enough, at the very end, Ajit shows up at the hideout, and then they're like, surprise, happy birthday! And, they celebrated Ajit's birthday. So that was really, really cool, man. And with the next season, definitely hoping Ajit really does become like a permanent awesome brawler. Because it only makes sense because he's the R-list brawler for the group. So, yeah. Also hope that means we get like Ajit character cards and such. And we see him more on character art, just besides like the gate trainer card. You should be in the artwork for some of these future waves of the TCG. That's what I really, really want to see. But, yeah, dude. Then we get to episode 48, and this is the one where we get that build up big time. So, it starts off with Havoc literally in his normal alien form, which he looks wild. Like the signature design we've seen from him leaving on the ground, he has that imprinted on his actual alien face, and then his hair is like blue and sticking out, and he has like these two waves of like electricity or lightning going around him. It's a really wild design, you know, kind of a humanoid alien kind of design, but it's still pretty wild, dude. And he has these maniacal claws, and then he's just holding Sabrus in his hand. He's watching back at the footage of Dan and Tico when the V virus was at its absolute peak and Tico was trying to destroy the world and infect all the core cells. He was watching that. This episode is literally called Tico's Back, and I'm going to say it's Master, please. Come on. Like, this is a big episode, dude. After we see that, Havoc has his eye on Tico. He's trying to get control of Tico himself because of how Tico was with the V virus. And then, sure enough, we fast forward a little bit, and the Awesome Brothers, I think they're outside training, and then Goreen comes through the maze exhausted. He's like, Havoc is in the maze. And then they all go to the maze, and Havoc's trying to get Tico. So Tico's basically on this like legendary platform, and then you see all of the golden Bakugan around him. What was it, like Xylus, Etris? Xylus, Etris. And then we see Pyravian, we see Trino, and then obviously Goreen tried to help, but all of them are attacking. So that being like McHugh, Sophie, Everett, Storm, and Havoc, they're all there. They got their fusion Bakugan and such. And Havoc has his, of course, Sabrus now. And then the Awesome Brawlers come in, and they try to help. It's a crazy fight because they're putting up good fights because the Golden Bakugan are obviously still at this point even strong. Like, that's one thing I love. Even with this season being 2 seasons in now, they still have Pyravian and Goreen and Trino and all of these Bakugan of the Great Council being up there power-wise. And that is amazing, dude. Like, that's so sick. I love that they kept that storytelling with them and made the Arliss Bakugan still that prestigious now. You know, because they have big influence over Stroya and such, and obviously going in the maze being the main connection to them. And then it starts getting kind of bad because they're starting to overpower them, but the Awesome Brawlers are still doing a good job, and they think they're going after Tico. Tico actually awakens. Havoc awakens Tico, so we see Tico again in the show, except the non-V virus version that we saw at the very end. When they turned him good for a little bit, and then after he actually went into a slumber, he awakens from his slumber, dude, and has this dialogue with Havoc. Havoc saying, I'm gonna put you under my control and make the perfect ultimate Bakugan! You know. And Tico saying he changed his way, so Tico's turned good. The V-Virus is gone, so Tico is good. He had, kind of good intentions, but a bad motive for them with the V-Virus. But now that the V-Virus is gone, he's on the side of good, and he's on the side of Dan and the others. And Dan sees that, and he's like, Tico. And then he's like, well, that's annoying. And then they start battling and such, and the kicker is Ebony joins the fray. So Ebony comes out because Ebony is now under Havoc's control, so Lightning's rival is here, and we get to see that feud between those two. Them tying that together with this. Everything literally coming together with this episode. So epic, dude. And the kicker is, they're not going after Tico anymore. They go after Pyravian. They beat down Pyravian, and then Havoc gets Pyravian. And then they all vanish. He's like, that's all for now. And then they go. And that's where we get the build-up, man. And then we get to this final episode with this build-up. Starts off Havoc being inside of his tower. Sabra, or Sabrus, has control of Pyravian, sucking up Pyravian's power, basically, and absorbing it into itself. And it's really sad. Like, you see Pyravian struggling big time with it. And it was a given that it was going to be this way because Pyravian wasn't going to go over willingly. There was no chance of that happening. And sure enough, gets sucked up. But then the Awesome Brawlers find the tower where Havoc was, because he can actually teleport it and such. It showed Lightning kind of saw it when it vanished the one time, but they found where the tower was. And then everybody's outside. McHugh, Sophie, Storm, Everett, all defending them. And then they have the help of, the Golden Bakugan as well joining in. And they managed to at least kind of keep them at bay for a little bit. And Dan and Drago go ahead. But then by the time they get in there, they're too late. And literally he says, "You're too late, Dan Kuzo. You're just a moment too late." And then we see Drago get shot out of the building like crazy. And everybody's looking like, what? And then we see it, man. The crazy monstrosity, the crazy awesome designed Bakugan that we've been seeing on the card art for Sabra. Sabra X Pyravian, or Sabra X Arliss, has shown up. Its native faction obviously being Darkest. Yeah, dude. It shows up and it looks menacing. This thing has 1800 B power in the show, and it's nuts. Literally, with one hit, putting all of the Awesome Brawlers Fusion Bakugan, even with the Arliss Bakugan, at bay. Havoc now has control of all 6 factions, and it's wild, dude. It's basically the unstoppable Bakugan that nobody's going to really be able to beat except for Dan and Drago, because Drago now has the Infinity Armor, and then it's Drago Auxiliator merging with the Infinity Armor, and then we get Infinity Drago. So we're getting that battle, and they're basically even on power, but the Awesome Brawlers, they all give their Fusion Bakugan, and they throw it at the Infinity Armor. So how the actual Dragonoid Infinity has the spots for the other Bakugan, it shows with this, and takes the power of all the other Awesome Brawlers, their Bakugan, and we get the awakened, complete Dragonoid Infinity, and has the same power level as Sabra Pyravian or Sabrus Pyravian. And they're just having a little bit of a fight at the beginning, and Havoc's like, "You can match the power of Sabra? Impossible!" And then Dan's like, "It's not impossible, we're all fighting together." And then Havoc backs away. He's like, "Very well. We're gonna save this for a special stage." And then they all vanish. The tower vanishes, they all vanish, and then the Awesome Brawlers are all sitting there. And he says, "There's a special stage." Like she's saying a special stage or something. This obviously being the setup for the final battle, dude. So we're going to see like Sophie, Everett, McHugh, and Storm probably battle with their Fusion Bakugan. Also Ebony. And I won't be surprised if in these battles they're going to mainly focus on those side characters and such, and then have it where like Storm, like a Jeep beats Storm, maybe. Shun takes out McHugh because like this hatred and such for all the different like the individuals, you know what I mean? Having all these different battles happen, and then they free them from Havoc's control. It's probably going to be how it's going to start off, is them being freed and then trying to fight Sabrus Pyravian. But then obviously Sabrus Pyravian being this crazy strong. But then the final battle being between Havoc and Dan. And we get Sabrus Pyravian versus Drago Infinity. And then it'll probably be like a similar ending to how it was with the first season. And, Drago Infinity getting the win. Now the question is, will Sabrus Pyravian probably be destroyed? I don't know if Sabrus will be destroyed. And, it's going to be like the big question, what's going to happen with Havoc and Sabrus. Honestly, it'd be cool if they turned good, but don't know if that's going to happen or if it's just going to be like they're just going to be gone after this. You know what I mean? But obviously Pyravian being saved after this. And then probably leading into Geogon Rising. But hopefully these characters after this do turn good, because that's how it's gone with like a lot of the the series. I mean, how it went with the first season, all the characters basically turned good, except for like few. They're still kind of tweeners and just like, oh, this is like, going job to job with whatever they could do and still might be evil. But some turning good, like, how Magnus turned good, and like how Philomena's basically good too. You know what I mean? Like that. But yeah, man, regardless, this build-up was sick. This whole season's been really, really sick. And the Fusion Bakugan also really, really sick. Big time props to Spin Master for this. This was really, really awesome. Loved the build-up and the storytelling throughout this entire season and really tying it together. And also making that moment, that battle with Tico and Drago in the first season that much relevant with this part. And it's like paying homage to it, because all that power, and then Havoc seeing that and having an eye on that, and then tying that in, having Tico come back, seeing him for a bit. Also, at the end of the episode, Tico runs out of power and then returns to the ball form and returns to his slumber. So I'm hoping that means after he has enough time slumbering, Tico fully awakens, and I really hope, Spin Master, I know I say it a lot, I really, really hope that you make an actual figure for Tico. Like, don't let this be the Naga treatment over again. You know, we got Naga, but we didn't get Silent Naga. You know, really got to see Tico. Really want to see an actual figure for Tico, and I hope it's being held off on for another season, and it's not just being completely scrapped, because that would honestly suck a lot. Like, Tico's one of my favorite Bakugan still, and definitely want to see, like, an actual figure for Tico. Even if it's, like I said before, a set where you put in, like, say, you know, put in Darkest Artulian, that's the only thing you make it is in Darkest. Tico, you only make it in Aurelus, but then you got Tico, you know. And then same thing like Leonidas, you know, make Leonidas. And Gorillion being the newest case, man. Like, they're all just such awesome Bakugan. I'd love to see actual figures for them, be able to create decks and such with them, because they're so cool. Like, they're so awesome, man. Those are some of my favorite Bakugan too. Like I said, like Leonidas, the design for it's really, really epic. Tico is Tico and just epic in general. Gorillion, same thing. Love the design for Gorillion and Gorillion Infinity, you know. So cool. Even if they make it like a fusion, that would be cool if they do like Gorillion and then the Infinity armor, then you flip it over, then you get Gorillion Infinity, do it like the fusion type of treatment with it. Love that, you know. Just definitely actually including them into actual figures. But yeah, overall, the season's been absolutely amazing. Obviously, the main thing, I say it a lot, you know, just TCG, LGS support, you know, TCG distribution, the cards, all that good stuff. But hopefully that's going to get picked up with 2021. So yeah, but besides like that, obviously just the TCG aspect and stuff, getting more support for that out. Those are my main things with it. Like, just making some of these Bakugan that are so awesome in the show that you didn't actually make. Like Artulian, at least with Apollyon, there's Claptor Apollyon, so there's homage with that, you know. But, like, still, nothing for Tico. Nothing really for Artulian, and nothing for Leonidas, and nothing for Gorillion. You know, we got Drago Infinity, but Gorillion, make him do a figure, and like I said before, even give it, like, the Infinity armor as a thing with the card, and then just flip it over, you get Gorillion Infinity that way, or something like that. Like, that would be so sick. Would love to see that. But yeah, overall, this build for this season's been absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to see how Geogon Rising is going to be, because it's going to be really, really awesome. So, yeah, man, but that's basically everything for this discussion video. You guys got any thoughts in the comments or anything? You know, any thoughts, put them in the comments. And yeah, man, overall, this has been a really, really awesome season. Season 2 was amazing, and Season 3 is shaping up, like with the support and such and everything coming in, maybe being the best. And that's saying something, if not like the best, at least up there with the other seasons, because having that support, you know, that's what made Season 1 really awesome, was all the Bakugan and such, the bit of support at the beginning, but then it going behind that being the main thing for it. And then this season, honestly, same thing, just the card support, but still the figures and such themselves, and the storytelling being really awesome. Even the storytelling with this season might be a little better than the storytelling with the last season, and keeping that mystery factor. And that's going to be the same thing probably for Geogon, the mystery of the Geogon, and figuring that out as the season goes along and all that good stuff. But getting that card support up there being the big time thing, man. So yeah, it's been really awesome to this point, and I'm excited to see how 2021 is going to go for Bakugan, dude. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to slice that like button down below. Let me know how I did. If you're new to my channel, definitely be sure to subscribe for some epic content, because I upload daily. And if you haven't already, be sure to ring that bell by my channel name to be notified whenever I upload a video. Like I say, a lot of you guys are watching, not subbed. Definitely press that sub button. It's totally free. The support really helps me out and such. And we'd love to have you be a part of the Kimbo Army. So, yeah, on the road to 70K, dude. Anyways, till next time, it is your boy Kimbo signing off. See you guys later. Thanks so much for watching. Until then, stay awesome. And Bakugan Brawl! I'm up out of here.